In the name of the system admin beyond this world room and the original being that all universal manifestation is a command of, in the name of God, the most benevolent and the most merciful, as a member of the human species, I would like to speak to the human species. And from my experience, this is a message in a bottle. What happens rest is beyond me. How you hear what I say, what you actually understand. And yet, I will follow this moment forward and to share with you the inner realms, because at this point in history, that's the protocol, really. We're not telepathic yet. To be an artist is technically a temporary thing. I'll give it like 1,000 years, right? They're like, art is not dead, but in 1,000 years, we don't know. We don't really know what originality would mean then. All right, so let's dive into the lecture, folks. So, let me relax with this song. All right. So, dear viewers, grab a cup of tea, find a place to sit down, and just grant yourself a moment where you just listen to some dude talk about the future. But it's interesting because no one like me has ever existed, and no one like you has ever existed. And how I say and how you hear things, these are novel moments. Anyways, let's dive into it. Sorry, guys, give me a second. All right. So, in the presence of all that is created and the creator and the unique position of the human being, the mystery of the human will surpasses how even angels exist. This is a theological episode. We're getting into theology. This is very important. This is a fun episode. This is I know what kind of episode this is. That's it. All right. So the viewers, find this on your TV or something. This is just like one human being broadcasting perception. So, okay, we can okay. Yeah, this is good enough. So, the mystery of the human will surpasses how even angels exist. So, guys, I'm gonna show you the Mr. Within approach. It's a kind of hilarious at first divide and conquer and then recollectively build approach. So, this is the sentence: the mystery of the human will surpasses how even angels exist. Now, in the Mr. Withinian system here, all right now, in the MW system, we treat sentences as systems, and then we wonder about each element in the system to then review how we see the system now. And the task is to try to see a different way. Okay? So, so the mystery is one element. The human will is another element in the system of this sentence. Okay? Surpasses is another element. These two can be said to be the same. They're different, but they can be grouped as the same. Angels and then exist. So, sorry, I should do it, say it different. What do I do it? There we go. There we go. One, two, three, four, five, six. The underline suggests how we have grouped element, how we have grouped each word as an element. The underline suggests the element, guys. Therefore, we are working with a six-dimensional linguistic system. Now, we wonder about the hidden universe that each word conceptually points to. In other words, it's okay. What does each element mean to you at first? So be bold here, guys. You pretty much have to turn the sentence into elements, look at each element. And I don't know how other people's minds are working, but guys, we're all visual learners. I believe I can make a case for that. And if you realize that you don't have to think through words, you're in your inner realms. You can actually move inside a film. This life can move faster than language, and therefore it becomes film. And so it's easier to remember visually rather than linguistically. And ridiculously, when you remember the visual, the linguistic also arrives. So we look at each element. So we come here and we say, what do we do? We say, E1. Are people taking us in? All right, they are. Nice. So we're looking at mystery. So what does mystery mean to us? The unknown, the unobservable, the awaited, the beyond, anything we can't see, anything we don't understand or can't see. So that's element one. Go to element two. I think those are, I'm satisfied with those understanding with those two. Then we go human will. So, and oops, guys, I forgot something. So we come here. What does mystery mean to us or to you? What does, do you see what I'm doing here, guys? We're conceptually unlocking each part. Because once we do, we're going to be able to see it. We're going to know the sentence before we know it. So, human will, what does human will mean to you? First of all, is this on? Yep. It is on. All right. Okay. There is something very interesting I have for you. All right, let's keep going. So we go to human will. Now, this is where we have different views here. Now, human will to me, the human is a conditional being. Therefore, its will implies its ability to respond to its existence and to its condition. What is the human condition? Ignoring the fact that we named everything and started storytelling in the middle of a colossal, yeah, I knew it had a colossal unknown changing event. What is the human condition? Ignoring the fact that we name everything and started storytelling in the middle of a colossal unknown changing event. The human in 2025 is considered to be a physical in front of your eyes, pretty much. To be a physical, biological organism that has that has yeah. So the UN considers this physical biological organism that has a brain that seems to, in an unexplainable way, instantaneously. So, ignoring the fact that we name everything and started storytelling in the middle of a colossal unknown changing event, the human in 2025 is considered to be a physical in front of your eyes, like a thinking about a physical biological organism that has a brain that that has the capability for subjective experience due to a certain maintained state of the brain. This can't be ignored. The human joint are considered physical biological organism that has the capability for subjective or non-physical yet still visible subjective experience that is attributed to what the brain generates currently in front subjective characters, subjective named characters in an objective landscape, an edgeless, you know, edgeless, an edgeless, and you can't see that far kind of landscape. We are subjectively named characters in an edge. We're subjective named. We are subjective named characters in an edge subjective landscape. And people's whole moment of intelligence is owned by the idea they have in the moment. You know, like, like it's amazing. The ego is the limited sense of responsibility that a physical being has. The true, guys, I'm really taking this for the true frontiers. The true frontiers of the actual ontological event that surpasses any sort of epistemological event and will is an ability to choose out of options in a world it didn't choose. The world existed before we understood it. The unknown is greater than the known. The human will is the, the current conscious accumulated retaliation towards an infinitely viewable um, towards a world viewable from infinite viewpoints. Is that you find the human condition, yes, in front of our eyes, yes. I'm not ignoring. We are a moment of awareness. We find the biological body here in the moment. I'm finding my laptop on my lap, you know. I'm finding my car here in front of my eyes. I see existence and existence I didn't create. I notice how before I pay attention and truly give something meaning, you know, overlaid with my own meaning. It's just being there, existence. It's strange. Like it's like it. People are like, "What's the purpose of existence?" But that's the strange question because they should be asking, "What is the purpose of the experience of existence?" You know, because the purpose of existence is to exist its form. They're like, "What's the purpose of a shape?" It's just a shape. It exists to be that shape. He exists right now to be the human position. and we're occupying that sort of lifehood in reality. So please understand, oh current humanity, we have no other options. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but so far, this is how I see it, okay? Everybody is looping in meaning because that's how our brains work. If you go and check it out, the brain is comfortable with the familiar. That means if you go once and sit in the same coffee shop, and you go and second time, let's say you go and sit in the same place, 100%. Why? Because the brain is so. Now, here's the cool thing: our intelligence understands, like, how do I explain it? So, I was this kind of like, I don't know how you would describe it, like a curious individual. And for me, when I was young, the mind fascinated me. And it fascinated me, like, how people could memorize a deck of cards, or how, in some sense, chess masters were chess masters. I'm like, how are these guys doing it? Right? And I thought in my mind, are these guys geniuses, or do they know something that I don't know? And the more I have been understanding how much reality fits the model of a game, it has astonished me. It's like, to me, being alive is like a divine game. The fact that there's anything moving at all, the fact that there's any position, the fact that trees exist for me to even conceptualize, the fact that the edge of the world can't be seen and I'm trying to find a fixed context, but you can't contain the world that's beyond language before language existed. Presence to this world, there was an ontology to this world before there was an opportunity for epistemology. What does this mean? This hilariously means, yes, like, sure, treat Earth as your home and call it Earth, okay? But also understand that the edge of awareness is your true home. You see, I had to make a decision. Let me tell you something hilarious, okay? During my years where I was studying mechanical engineering, okay, unsuccessfully, and then life took me into film, that was successful. But where I'm going with this is, I could not ignore the uncharted territories of all the ways that reality can be perceived. If they tell me what growing up on this planet is like, is noticing how many different ways there were to look at something. So this projects something very profound. Now, guys, I gotta be honest. I have 18% battery on my laptop, and I'm gonna continue, but I'm gonna get to the point, I guess, a bit sooner. Let me find a song that's welcomes my rhythm. All right. So, sorry guys, let me focus. There's a reading component. I should probably get through that quick. I'm gonna read it, guys. So I'm gonna just go on a tangent here because then I'm gonna go all out on my view. But because of the battery life, at least I'm gonna get this out. So this is the research component. I'm reading something from ChatGPT 5.2. Pretty much, I asked it, like, Like, why is there angels? If angels exist, why is it so important for people to not do sins, like to just be perfect, right? Because is that I don't believe that's the point. And in the Holy Quran, it says it's something deeper, of course. But I'm gonna read this AI research component here. So God's creation of humanity alongside angels represents not redundancy, but a deliberate ontological differentiation between modes of existence. Okay, so it's saying, okay, it's pretty much different modes. Angels within Islamic theology are beings of pure function. They possess knowledge and awareness, but lack inner contradiction, desire, ego, or moral ambiguity. A great definition of angels I heard was that they are the divine will. They don't have any other will. They are the divine will. They're the manifestation of God's will, in pure form. So it says angels within Islamic theology are beings of pure function. They possess knowledge and awareness but lack inner contradiction, desire, ego, or moral ambiguity. Their obedience is absolute because it is structurally determined. They cannot choose otherwise. There we go. As such, angels exemplify perfection of execution rather than perfection of agency. Ah, wow. Okay, what an incredible sentence. So AI is saying angels represent the perfection of execution rather than the perfection of agency. So the awareness to existence gives us access to a different mode than just executing in a perfect way. And that makes sense. It's like maybe there's a reason things are difficult to do. It says human beings, by contrast, are defined by moral freedom under constraint. They're endowed with competing drives, reason and impulse, conscience and desire, memory and forgetfulness, creating a condition in which ethical alignment is neither automatic nor guaranteed. From an academic perspective, this positions humanity not as a lesser form of angelic existence, but as a distinct class of moral agents whose value emerges precisely from the tension between capacity and choice. In this framework, sin is not the objective of human creation, nor evidence of design failure. Rather, it is a predictable byproduct of freedom operating within finite cognition and embodied desire. What gives human action its distinctive significance is not airlessness, but reflexivity, the capacity to recognize deviation, experience remorse, recalibrate intention, and return to moral alignment. This recursive process, fall, awareness, repentance, and reintegration, constitutes a form of moral learning unavailable to beings who cannot deviate in the first place. Wow. Wow. That means if we were perfect beings, we could not see the world differently. There's a value in how differently we see the world. Anyways, I want to keep reading this. So it says this recursive process, fall, awareness, repentance, and reintegration, constitutes a form of moral learning unavailable to beings who cannot deviate in the first place. In philosophical terms, angels represent closed ethical systems, while humans represent open ethical systems capable of growth, collapse, and reformation. It is precisely describes as the amana, the in brackets, responsibility for moral meaning in a contingent world. Yeah, that means that the angel is representing a closed ethical system because it's just pure commanded. It can't look at reality differently. It can't make a mistake. What we call a mistake, or in some sense, see a different. I was trying to make earlier the thing as when I was young and trying to figure out pattern recognition. These chess masters play so many chess games, right? That at some point they just know their instincts are tuned to what they experience so many times. right? So their mind doesn't have to think anymore. The brain, so they're kind of ingenious. They're kind of like, instead of thinking it, right, from scratch, they're visually imprinting it on their brain, pattern, the pattern, the pattern, the pattern. At some point, they look at the chessboard and they just see endless patterns. It makes sense. But they're also branding their brain in that universe. So they got to be careful too. Anyways, I'm going to keep going with this. It says, from a systems theory and cognitive science perspective, humanity functions as a high risk, high potential node within reality's moral architecture. Humans are not merely subjects of divine command, they are co participants in the manifestation of justice, mercy, restraint, and corruption within history. Angels maintain cosmic order, but humans generate moral outcomes, civilizations, law, reform. Thus, a human who consciously, while possessing the genuine capacity for transgression, I'm going to read that again. Thus, a human who consciously chooses ethical alignment while possessing the genuine capacity for transgression demonstrates a depth of moral agency that exceeds procedural obedience. Yeah, that means if you could do something wrong, but you still do the right thing, that's suggesting a sort of this, there's something deeper. You're having a deeper relationship with the original presence of reality. It says this explains the theological claim that a righteous human may surpass angels in rank, not due to purity of nature, but due to integrity achieved under pressure. Exactly. Exactly. Anyways, folks, I think there was a bit more to read. It says, in sum, in humanity was not created to be sinless, nor to rival angels in obedience, but to transform freedom into responsibility and awareness into moral meaning. Wow. It says, in some, humanity was not created to be sinless, nor to rival angels in obedience, but to transform freedom. So it's not just that it's so enough for us to exist. We live when we choose to be responsible, when we choose to care for life, you know, to care for the importance of this event that is happening for all of us. People don't know this, but there's 117 billion humans that have been recorded to exist, like from 300,000 years ago, like they estimate that AI does it, right? And right now there's 8.1 human beings, which is 7% of all human beings that have ever existed. You are important, you matter, but also all of us matter, and we got to figure out what we're all going to do as a species. It's like this is how the unity of the species happens. We start talking about it in the evenings. Anyways, it says, and awareness, we transform our awareness into moral meaning. So it's not just, again, so just the freedom of our awareness, just being here, which is just our awareness to existence, being, and being free to move, right? It's like, it's not just that, it's like we need to be responsible for the meaning that life has, right? And that aligns to what I would say the original reality, which is the notion of purity in all systems, all ideological systems. It seems the more closer to the original, the pure the vision. Anyways, it says the human role is therefore, sorry, excuse me. It says, where angels glorify God. I'll read it again. In some, humanity was not created, nor to rival angels in obedience, but to transform freedom into responsibility and awareness into moral meaning. Where angels glorify God through flawless compliance, humans glorify God through conscious return. The human role is therefore not inferior, but uniquely perilous and uniquely profound. To know truth in a world where falsehood is plausible, and to choose alignment where deviation is possible, thereby rendering existence itself morally significant. That last part was, wait a minute. So the human role is not inferior, yeah. Yeah, and it could be right and wrong, like deeply. And then it says to know truth in a world where falsehood is possible, plausible. So we know that there is a truth beyond like just good and bad. There's it's like we're having a relationship with an original being, the original being of the realm. This being was present before existence occurred, and it is present now. And we have to acknowledge the host of our world, which is an unconditional being beyond the world. Anyways, I'm gonna get to the last line, and it says, oh no, actually I read it there. So it says the human role is therefore not inferior, but uniquely perilous and uniquely profound. To know truth in a world where falsehood is plausible, and to choose alignment where deviation is possible. Like you could be cruel, but you choose to be like, why? Let's be kind and see what next chapters of humanity unlocks only when we align together, actually, as a species. And then it says, choose alignment where deviation is possible, thereby rendering existence itself morally significant. That means, yeah, because we choose the better option, even though we can do, there is the worst option, that itself generates the the significance of our morality. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the difference. Pretty much, it was a theological episode where we were looking at this view that God, the system admin, I'm Muslim, so I believe the system admin is beyond the world room, and this world is a simulation, and nothing in the simulation can equal the system admin, even all of it. And so, to me, the system admin is unconditional. It's the original moment of reality, and all simulated manifestation has to come to the realization that it was positioned and it was commanded to exist. And our task is not to know all of life and become all knowing, but it is to recognize what was the command of our soul in this world. What are we here to do that only we can? What is it that we are seeing that only we are seeing? When I say we, I mean you. Like, what are you seeing that only your DNA gives you access to, in the sense that nobody else has your eyes? Nobody is standing in the same moment in the space time continuum. We all have so many things that differ, and we opt into these cultural programs, and in some sense, even learn behavioral languages, and even, of course, different languages, and on some level even learn cultural languages, which means watch TV or figure out what's going on in the society, right? And on some level, yeah, I do understand what it means to be a sociocultural, psychological entity, psychophysiological entity in this world. But at the same time, there's a mystery here, folks, because um, if you just look at, if you treat objects as more real than subjects, the meaning of reality is gonna be like an illusion. If you treat subjects as real and objects as false, which is pretty much what religion's saying and simulation theory states, right? Then, in some sense, you have the reality of the do you understand? Of the subjective. How do I state this? Pretty much, if you treat the object as real, the subject is going to be simulated to you. If you treat the subject as real, the object is going to be simulated to you. The importance of its simulated nature suggests that we are actually unknown beings. Let me say it this way: it's actually an unknown world. We're unknown selves. We're actually an unknown life force, moving the moment in ways that we don't comprehend, but we function as the full awareness of the moment, it seems, spiritually. Um, and I am telling you, it's like I looked at my body. They say body, mind, and soul, and it was like, all right, body, the purpose of it, survive, be healthy, procreate. We're like mind, all right, create and serve and advance civilization, you know, and serve God, and in some sense understand that to serve the unconditional means to care for all conditions of reality, to be that force that realizes creation has a value to the system admin that created it. And if there are those who are religious, you cannot be violent, for you're being violent to your creator's creation. In some sense, it's like the heart must prevent the violent hand before the mind can say anything. So you must listen to the presence of the original moment of reality. The system admin is aware beyond the world room. And now it's always about what do we do inside the box, and humanity, just like every individual human, an individual human self simulates the meaning. Our species is in the same way a human, one human being looks at something and gives it like their own meaning based on their own experiences. Our whole species is going to look at this cosmos and finalize that perspective into like the species is the whole species is self-simulated meaning, right? Which are the grand visions that actually usher forth the next chapters of the psyche of the human odyssey. But anyways, where so I finished the research component, and where I'm really going with this, guys, is now just to say a few final things. See, when I say the mystery of the human will surpasses how even angels exist, because I remember years ago, I opened the Holy Quran, and this was at the peak of like, me talking about the advanced civilization. I discovered the idea that nobody was talking about that, you know. And anyways, where am I going with this? Um, oh yeah, I opened the Holy Quran, and in it said, I'm a visual learner, so I can visually tell you it said that if God wanted to, God could have created, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have created everybody as sinless, and God had already created angels. Even there's this Islamic view, the angels are like, God, why did you create humans? So on some level, God already has an example of the most perfected beings, which are beings made of light, and has being or perfected, or let me say, like, sinless beings, who are made of light, and let's say has sinful beings, I guess, made of smokeless flame, which are the jinn kind. And then you have beings made of clay, mankind, in the middle of this, right? So mankind is a conditional being. Now, an angel's reality is unconditional. It doesn't have choice. The decisions are made. It is just the expression. It's like a light beam. It's the expression of the result. Do you know? But on the human being is different, because the human being is confronting a dualistic situation, and pretty much it's trying to be singular when the world is divided in a dualistic way, which to be an individual in a dualistic world is equivalent to balance, like flipping a coin and have it balance on its edge, on its like corn, like in the middle, and on its edge, right? So on some level, it's just generation. At some point, you as a human being will have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be like, okay, am I generating my life's meaning, or am I finding my life's meaning, or am I waiting for someone to give my life meaning? Do you know? Or will my life's meaning come one day? Or what is going on this earth, really, if I was to look at it again anew? Right? Because what else can I tell you guys? We're all present, alive right now for some time. And I've realized the greatest idea, everything, like God, this is so ingenious to me. It's part of, I think, God's plan, in the sense that we have visions of like righteous humans, greater humans, better, humans being better and blessed and all of this. I see that all for civilization as well, which can be said to be the total accumulated expression of 8 billion souls in the presence of the soul of the whole moment of reality, which is beyond our understanding. So at some point, yeah, there's human limitations, but the awareness of man, this mystery of the human will. Now there's I legit have like 8% battery. When it gets to probably 5, it's 7% now. So when it gets to like 4, I think I'll like be gone by then. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, so I guess we got a couple minutes. So anyways, guys, some important points here. Let me just pay attention here and get these out. So in the subtitle, I've risen, hasn't God already created sinless beings like named angels? Like, yeah, I explained that. The subtitle is kind of unnecessary. Maybe I gotta reconfigure that. But anyways, guys, the mystery of the human will. Now, the point about angels and power. I guess I'm gonna kind of go into this. You see, guys, if right now all of us, it doesn't matter what we believe, if a very powerful being entered the world, it would administer our reality. Like legit, we can say we can't do anything. We have to adjust to that. So we as beings at all, just beings in existence, conclude that the most vital point of power is awareness. Sorry, what am I saying? Power is the most important. It's a very important consideration of a value. That means I'm telling you, like, it's the power of humans that truly, like, I guess, contributes to their leadership or whatever. But sometimes the whole leadership movement is based on a higher power, like something beyond the moment is already knows like what the moment needs to be. But I guess where I'm going, guys, I should have done all the other elements. I don't have time to do it, so I'll just quickly. So surpasses, go beyond, how, like, in the way that we see possible. Angels, beings that are the divine will exist. Like, what's there? There we go. So pretty much the surpasses how even angels exist, meaning that if angels exist as being the complete command of the system admin, like they can make mistaken expression of the system admin, mankind can make mistakes, or can in some sense has choice. It doesn't have full choice because it's not an absolute being, it's a conditional simulated being. And the system admin of this reality is an original unconditional being. No idea can equate. So anyways, guys, I had more to say, but I don't know, my attention's drifted differently. um I'm telling you, this mystery of the human will, pretty much like I have this view, you can hold an object and look at it from different views. So similarly, we can look at a different idea in our realms. We could look at an idea from different views in our realms. Meaning that what is really mysterious about being human, right? We don't know the context. We just know a certain range of known simulated conceptualizations. And what's more fascinating, that whatever concept I think I am, and whatever concept also I consider I am, whatever concept and context I consider I am, they're both simultaneously equating a state of consciousness. So it's very difficult to say, is reality, like, is there humans or is there different beings, or is it all just a dictionary or an archive or a spectrum of ranges where consciousness is perceived to exist at all? Because think about how much light is moving around everywhere. Isn't it weird? To me, I think it's legit like neurons. Like they have this view of like, what is it, 2 trillion, I don't know, some countless level of stars and galaxies and cosmos, like that cosmic vastness. And imagine the amount of light moving in this. It's as if we're part of this celestial processing, uh, intelligent movement or mechanism beyond our understanding. That means it is such a superior advanced system. It's a privilege to be alive. It's like they're like, do you fear death? It's like, yeah, but I'm also fascinated by this reality, and I don't fear death in the sense that I don't consider death to be the final moment. Meeting the original system admin, returning to the original state, and truly seeing the value of what you have been and what you could have been, and appreciating it and truly realizing, like, guys, I got a certain lifetime. I'm doing my best. I'm giving these talks, trying to even, for me, as if you knew who I was, you'll see, like, to go and give public talks, like, that's a huge step, because I get changed very easily, in the sense that, sorry, not that I get changed very easily, but that I notice things deeply, and when I'm around people, I notice very deep things about, like, the moment. Anyways, guys, the mystery of the human will stands in an unknown world as an unknown self. We're naming ourselves as a known self and giving ourselves a character and a storyline, legit acting our way, you know, to the after. Oh man, God forgive me. It's, I'm being silly here, but what it is really, we are a psychological, physio-psychological simulation, and I'm telling you, you're like an antenna, but also an opportunity for that unknown witnessing, holistic, whole moments, kind of like viewing force that's instantaneously here. Pretty much what's looking out through your eyes, or aware beyond like your senses of what's there. I find that the mystery of the next unlocks. It's not done alone. We have to, much faith was the correct answer, and it's such an advanced answer, because it means today we are identifying as the objective node and the subjective node to the objective node, to manage the objective node, which is our name and our physical body. Identifying as an idea, people treat themselves as thoughts, which is so weird, because a thought can't think. Like, what does that even, it breaks itself conception. So, anyways, wonder about reality and wonder about the original moment, for all that is unknown to the original being. All, it's all knowing. The original being is that moment, is realizing a moment exists where the unknown doesn't. And if the unknown exists for us, reality is simulated. It's fascinating, because even if we knew everything, there would be nothing to do. So there's a reason we don't know everything, to get close to the system admin, and not in external ignorance to God's creation, but more an internal fascination for really how can the true meaning of what's going on here be. It could be way more incredible than we're interpreting it. Thank you for listening. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, the most advanced. God truly knows, but man has his eyes open, wanting to know more. Thank you for listening.